Welcome to The Deep Dive, where we unpack the latest and greatest in science and tech. You know, those breakthroughs that make you go, hold on, what? Get ready for some of those moments because today's deep dive is packed with them.
Yeah, the world of science and tech is always changing. It's tough to keep up.
That's what we're here for. We've got a stack of research articles and industry news hot off the press, just waiting to be explored. So let's dive right in. First up, AI.
AI, it's everywhere these days.
It is. And this time, it's not just hype. We're talking about tangible advancements.
Mm.
For example, DeepMind's AI just tackled a math problem that stumped mathematicians for ages, the CAPSET problem,
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one. It's a real head-scratcher.
and DeepMind's AI cracked it. This isn't just about solving equations, though. It shows that AI can push the limits of math and maybe even lead to breakthroughs in things like cryptography.
Absolutely. Cryptography, materials, science, who knows what else?
And AI isn't stopping there. Researchers are also using it to predict autoimmune diseases. Imagine getting a heads up about potential health risks years in advance.
Early diagnosis and intervention could be a game changer.
AI is also changing how science is done. Think AI-powered tools designing experiments.
It's like having a superpowered lab assistant.
Exactly, speeding up discoveries in all sorts of fields. It's really revolutionizing research.
From algorithms to the lab bench, AI is making its mark.
Now let's zoom in from the world of algorithms to something a bit smaller. Glycans. Ever heard of them?
Glycans. Sure, those tiny sugar structures that code our cells, they're much more important than people realize.
I admit, I didn't know much about them either. They affect everything from our immune system to how our bodies react to meds.
It's true, and there's still so much we don't know about them. But that's changing. A scientist at Augusta University just got a grant to develop new tech for sequencing glycans.
Sequencing glycans, what could that lead to?
Imagine personalized medicine tailored to your unique glycan profile. It could be huge.
That's incredible. It's like a whole hidden world inside our bodies. Speaking of hidden worlds, researchers just achieved the most complex engineering of human cell lines ever.
They're basically building custom human cells to study diseases up close.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And it's giving us a whole new understanding of human cells. For instance, it turns out our genomes are way more resilient to structural changes than we thought.
It's remarkable how adaptable our cells are.
This resilience is pretty amazing, but I imagine it also presents some challenges.
Oh, definitely. It could make targeting specific genes for therapies trickier than we anticipated.
A balancing act, for sure. Now let's talk about a technique that's giving us an incredible look into individual cells, single-cell RNA sequencing, or cRNA-seq for short.
It's like having a high-resolution map of each cell's inner workings. You can see which genes are active and how they're interacting.
It sounds incredibly powerful for understanding how diseases develop at a cellular level. But I've heard that cRNA-seq data can be tricky to analyze.
You're right. There's the issue of those zero values in the data. They could mean a gene isn't expressed, or it could just be a technical glitch.
So how do scientists know what those zeros really mean?
Well, they're developing new tools to tackle that challenge, like ScreeCover. It uses fancy algorithms to tell the difference between real and false zeros, making the data much more reliable.
That's like having a quality control system for our data, ensuring we get the most accurate picture of what's going on inside each cell.
Exactly. And with more accurate data, we can make huge strides in understanding how cells function and malfunction.
Speaking of breakthroughs, there's some potentially game-changing news in cancer research. Scientists at Keast discovered a molecular switch that might actually reverse cancer.
Instead of killing cancer cells, this technology focuses on changing them, making them more like normal cells.
So it's not about destroying cancer cells, but reprogramming them. That's pretty revolutionary.
It is, but we're still in the early stages. There's a lot more research to be done to see how this switch works in different types of cancer.
It's definitely an exciting development. Now, before we wrap up this first part of our deep dive, let's touch on a couple of other intriguing findings. Researchers have discovered some unique cells in the pancreas.
Endothelial cells, to be precise. They seem to play a crucial role in regulating blood flow and insulin secretion.
That could be huge for diabetes research.
Definitely. And in the world of epitranscriptomics, which is the study of RNA modifications, a company called Alida Bio is making waves.
RNA modifications?
Right.
What's so special about those?
Well, the new platform called Epiplex allows scientists to study these modifications in incredible detail. It's opening up a whole new world of understanding about gene regulation.
So many incredible advancements happening all at once. It's amazing to think about the potential impact they could have on human health.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We'll be back with more cutting-edge science and tech news in just a moment. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're uncovering more groundbreaking research that's pushing the boundaries of what we know.
We've talked AI, we've talked tiny sugars. Now let's talk about rare cells. Those cellular needles in a haystack.
Right, those rare cells. They're often overlooked, but they can hold incredibly valuable information about diseases and development.
The problem is they're so hard to find and study.
Exactly, but a new study just published in Nature might have cracked the code. They combined RNA-based sorting with single-cell RNA sequencing.
So they can isolate and analyze these rare cells, finally seeing what makes them tick.
Precisely. This technique could be huge for understanding diseases like cancer, where those rare cells can be the real troublemakers.
And not just cancer. It could also unlock new insights about the immune system.
So many possibilities, from rare cells to fusion oncoproteins, another fascinating area of research.
Fusion oncoproteins. Aren't those involved in cancer development?
Exactly. They're these abnormal proteins formed when two genes fuse together, and understanding them is crucial for developing targeted therapies.
So how do we get a handle on these fusion oncoproteins?
Well, a new study in Nature Communications might have the answer. They've developed a special language model called Fuson PLM.
Hold on, a language model. Like the kind used for processing human language?
That's right. But this one's designed to analyze the amino acid sequences of these fusion proteins, predicting their structures and functions.
So we're using language models to fight cancer. Now that's innovative.
It's all about finding those unique features that we can target with drugs.
Precision medicine at its finest.
Hmm?
From the microscopic world of cells, let's shift gears and talk about neuroimaging.
Ah, neuroimaging. Seeing the brain in action. It's incredible what we can do these days.
A new study in Nature Methods just introduced a game-changing pipeline for pre-processing neuroimaging data. It's called Deep Prep.
Pre-processing is essential. It's all about cleaning and preparing the data before analysis. Deep Prep uses deep learning to automate and enhance this whole process.
So it's like having a super efficient brain data assistant.
Exactly. It's going to accelerate our understanding of the brain and maybe even lead to new treatments for neurological disorders.
It's mind-blowing to think about the possibilities. From high-tech AI and brain imaging, let's take a step back and explore something seemingly simpler: genomics.
Genomics back to basics. But sometimes the most unexpected discoveries come from those basic studies.
So what's got the genomics world buzzing?
A new study in Scientific Data focused on the genome assembly of the Hawaiian flower thrips.
The Hawaiian flower thrips. I have to admit that doesn't sound super exciting.
Don't underestimate those tiny creatures. Understanding their genomes can give us insights into evolution biology, even pest management.
I guess you never know where the next big breakthrough will come from.
Speaking of breakthroughs, there's been some promising research on Alzheimer's disease.
Alzheimer's. It's a devastating disease, and finding effective treatments has been a real struggle.
A study in marine drugs is shedding light on why certain brain regions are more vulnerable to damage in Alzheimer's. They're looking at tau pathology.
So it's about understanding the mechanisms behind this selective vulnerability.
Exactly. And if we can understand those mechanisms, we might be able to develop therapies that target those specific areas.
A glimmer of hope in a challenging field. Now, while we celebrate these advancements, we can't forget about the ethical implications, especially with technologies like AI.
Absolutely. A recent article in Nature discussed the potential benefits and challenges of OpenAI's deep research tools for scientists.
OpenAI, they're doing some groundbreaking work in AI, but there's always that question of responsible use.
It's all about finding that balance, harnessing the power of AI while safeguarding human values and autonomy.
No easy answers there, but open discussion is key. Now let's shift gears and talk about something fundamental to scientific progress, collaboration, and data sharing.
Science thrives on the open exchange of ideas and information.
Absolutely. A study in Scientific Data highlighted this by showcasing the value of creating and sharing comprehensive databases.
This particular database focused on alternative promoters, which are DNA sequences that control gene expression.
So by making this data freely available, we're speeding up research in gene regulation.
Precisely. It's all about fostering collaboration and accelerating progress. Now, switching gears again, let's talk about medical diagnostics.
Early and accurate diagnosis is so crucial for effective treatment.
A study in Nature Medicine just demonstrated the power of AI in boosting diagnostic accuracy. They used AI to analyze CT scans and predict characteristics and outcomes of renal masses.
Renal mass is those growths in the kidneys. That sounds pretty serious.
It can be, but by using AI to analyze the scans, they were able to spot subtle features that might be missed by the human eye.
So it's like having an AI-powered second opinion.
Precisely, and that can lead to more accurate diagnoses and personalized treatment plans. AI isn't just about diagnostics, though. It's also being used to guide treatment decisions.
Oh, I'm curious. Tell me more.
A study in Scientific Reports looked at using deep learning to optimize anti-VEGF therapy for diabetic macular edema.
Diabetic macular edema. That's a complication of diabetes that can lead to vision loss, right?
That's right. And this therapy can be effective, but it doesn't work for everyone. This AI model can predict which patients are most likely to benefit.
So it's about making sure patients get the most effective treatment while avoiding unnecessary costs and potential side effects.
Exactly. Now, while we embrace these technological advancements, let's not forget the importance of traditional research methods.
It's about finding that balance, embracing the new while building upon the old. What kind of traditional research is still making waves?
A study in Scientific Reports focused on the role of a protein called FOXA1 in bone formation.
FOXA1, what's so special about that?
It's a key player in regulating gene expression, and this study found that it's involved in the differentiation of bone marrow stromal cells into bone-forming cells.
So it's about understanding the nitty-gritty details of how our bodies work.
Exactly. And that understanding could lead to new treatments for bone diseases like osteoporosis. Speaking of building blocks, let's not forget about the importance of mathematical models and computational tools.
Those might not be as flashy as AI, but they're essential for making sense of complex biological systems.
Absolutely. A study in Scientific Reports introduced a refined mathematical model for estimating photovoltaic parameters.
Photovoltaic parameters. Those sound like they have something to do with solar energy.
You got it. It's all about improving solar cell efficiency, making solar energy more affordable and accessible.
It's incredible how research in one area can have such a ripple effect across different fields.
It's all connected, from the microscopic to the global science, is constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive. This time we're looking at how science is tackling those big real-world problems.
From fighting infectious diseases to understanding the impact of climate change, it's all hands on deck.
Let's jump right in with a challenge that's all too real: sepsis.
Sepsis, it's a life-threatening condition, and managing it effectively, especially in emergency rooms, is crucial.
But it's not easy. Those patient responses can vary so much.
Exactly. That's why developing standardized treatments is so tricky.
Yeah.
But AI might be able to help. A new study in Nature Digital Medicine explored using reinforcement learning models for sepsis treatment.
Reinforcement learning for sepsis. So these models can learn from tons of patient data and figure out the best treatment strategies.
That's the idea. It's like having a virtual expert guiding those treatment decisions. But there are challenges too. Making sure these models work in different hospitals with diverse patient populations is key.
It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. From sepsis, let's move to another global challenge: climate change.
Climate change. It's already affecting ecosystems and societies all over the world. And a new study in Nature Climate Change just revealed another way it's impacting us: agricultural pests.
Oh, no, not pests. So climate change is making things even harder for farmers.
This study looked at a specific pest called Heterodera glycines. It's a nematode that loves to munch on soybeans, and they found that climate change can mess with its geographic range and population dynamics.
So we're not just talking about hotter temperatures and rising sea levels. We're talking about threats to our food supply.
It's a complex issue with ripple effects we're only beginning to understand. From the global scale, let's zoom in on something much smaller: the gut microbiome.
The gut microbiome. Those trillions of tiny creatures living in our digestive systems, they seem to be involved in just about everything these days.
And a new study in Nature Microbiology emphasized just how important it is to do things right when studying them. They found that even small differences in how samples are collected and processed can seriously skew the results.
So garbage in, garbage out. It's all about data quality.
That's it. Standardized procedures and rigorous quality control are crucial if we want to get reliable results and really understand how the gut microbiome impacts our health.
Speaking of how our environment impacts our health, let's talk about epigenetics.
Epigenetics, the study of how our genes are expressed without changes to the actual DNA sequence. A recent study in epigenetics looked at how something as common as acetaminophen can affect this.
Acetaminophen. You mean like Tylenol?
Yep. They found that taking it during pregnancy could potentially alter gene expression in the placenta.
So something we often take without a second thought could have impacts on fetal development.
It's a good reminder that even common medications can have unexpected effects, especially during pregnancy. Now let's switch gears and talk about type 1 diabetes and the potential of islet transplantation.
Islet transplantation. Sounds promising, but I imagine it comes with its own set of challenges.
Absolutely. A study in transplantation explored the use of machine learning for diabetes detection in islet transplant recipients. But they found that these models don't always work well across different populations and clinical settings.
So it's about making sure these tools are accurate and reliable for everyone.
Exactly. Now let's talk about something essential for fighting disease early detection through diagnostic tools.
The sooner we catch a disease, the better our chances of treating it effectively.
And genomics is playing a huge role in developing these tools. A study in PLOS, one demonstrated this by identifying the genetic culprits behind posthitis, a deadly disease affecting European bison.
So they use genomics to figure out what's causing this disease in bison.
Yep. It's a great example of how genomics can help us understand and combat diseases even in endangered species.
It's like CSI for the animal kingdom. From bison, let's move on to a threat that affects us all: antibiotic resistance.
Antibiotic resistance. It's a growing problem, and we need to be smarter about how we use these life-saving drugs.
So how do we fight back?
A study in Nature Digital Medicine showed how machine learning can help. They developed a model to predict whether an antibiotic is actually needed for patients with hospital-acquired infections.
So it's like an AI-powered antibiotic advisor helping doctors make the best decisions.
Exactly. It's all about using antibiotics only when they're truly necessary. And finally, let's wrap up with biomarker discovery.
Biomarkers, those measurable indicators of our health. They're essential for everything from early disease detection to predicting how someone will respond to treatment.
And machine learning is revolutionizing how we find these biomarkers. A study in briefings in bioinformatics developed a new approach that combines machine learning with expert knowledge.
So it's not just about letting the algorithms run wild. We're using human expertise to guide the process.
And that's leading to more efficient and accurate biomarker discovery, paving the way for truly personalized medicine.
It's amazing to see how far we've come. From AI-powered tools to cutting-edge genomics, research science is constantly pushing the boundaries.
It's an exciting time to be following these developments and seeing how science is shaping our world.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, and we hope you've enjoyed exploring the latest breakthroughs with us.
Until next time, stay curious and keep those hold-on-what moments coming.
We'll see you on our next deep dive into the world of science and tech.